The numbers are staggering. Bloomberg NEF has provided numbers on just the enormous difference that Chinese manufacturers have today. They on average pay 50% less for a battery pack than European car manufacturers. 50%. The United States, the price difference is 30%. We are about to witness the greatest disruption the automotive industry has ever seen. There's a perfect storm brewing right now. And most people are completely unaware of what's happening. Every single legacy automotive company is about to be hit, and hit very, very hard, because none of them realize just what China is doing, what the end game is, just what these massive, powerful, efficient, high-tech vehicle brands in China are about to do to the West. It is going to shatter the West in many ways. It will never, ever be the same. Think about it. iPhones are not made in any country outside of China. Most things we buy today are made in China, and there's a very good reason for that. Electric cars are already very, very affordable, much cheaper than what they used to be. I mean, guys, EV prices 10 years ago were incredibly expensive. But in many Western countries, internal combustion, gasoline, diesel, petrol-powered cars, they're still cheaper on average. However, that is unquestionably about to change. And here's the data for why that is. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. It's great to have you with us. And I want to thank all our new members, YouTube members, for becoming a member of the channel. Really appreciate your support. I'll put a link in the description to our YouTube member page. Lithium-ion battery pack prices have seen their largest drop since 2017. I mean, the truth is, guys, that's a bit of a misleading headline. Bloomberg reported that about a week or two ago. I mean, really looking at this chart, though, you can see that lithium-ion battery pack prices fell enormously between 2010 and 2011. By an insane figure, around 50%. However, over the past year, lithium iron phosphate battery cell prices fell from $91 per kilowatt hour down to $53 per kilowatt hour. And we have even better data than this, because over the past few weeks, there has been tenders in China for energy storage. And energy storage is generally more expensive than the battery cells themselves, because you need the packaging, you need the whole system set up, you need the crate, you need the electronics, you need the computers, you need the software, blah, blah, blah. However, we know now from the most recent tender in China for energy storage that the price has come down to an average of $63 per kilowatt hour at the pack level for energy storage. That's the current price we're looking at in China from the latest tender. That shows you that this pack price here from Bloomberg it's old news. I mean, Bloomberg is saying that the pack prices have come down to $115 per kilowatt hour, which is, I mean, that's insane. Have a look at the pack prices in 2010. They were $1,500 per kilowatt hour. I mean, going from 1,500 down to 115 is a staggering achievement, but it doesn't tell us where things are headed. Where things are headed is in the direction of the tender we've just seen in China, $63 per kilowatt hour. Once we hit that number at the pack level, it will be far cheaper to manufacture an EV. Now, we already know it will be cheaper within only months to actually replace an entire EV battery than to replace an engine. And in fact, I've been talking to insurance companies recently here in Australia, and they say their costs to replace a battery pack are now cheaper than their cost to replace an engine. That's never happened before, but that's the point where we're at today. So looking at this chart, you can see that the only time that battery pack prices increased back in 2021 was because of the cost of lithium. Lithium prices skyrocketed. They went ballistic. But now there's a lot of price pressure on lithium for various reasons. New mines have opened up. There's a whole lot more supply. We have another option on the market too. We have specifically sodium-ion batteries. Cadel, the biggest battery company in the world, they now sell sodium-ion battery packs. You can buy them. Other car manufacturers do buy them. And you can also buy their energy storage, their sodium-ion energy storage. But that's not the only battery chemistry on the market. In fact, there's numerous different batteries that don't use lithium. So there's a lot of price pressure on lithium, and I don't see the price of lithium going up anytime soon, which means that we'll continue to see a reduction in battery pack prices. That will flow on to the cost of cars. Now, the other reason that electric cars will become cheaper is because of China. In 2003, China owned only 2% of the global automotive market. It now owns more than 35%, more than any other country in the world. But China doesn't want to stop there. China has a car market of 30 million car sales per year, but their factories are capable of producing 40 million per year. And they're building new factories every single month. There needs to be somewhere to send those cars. Now we know as well that Chinese car manufacturers are willing to sell at a loss for as long as it takes in order to get rid of their rivals. That's the strategy of many Chinese car companies today, getting rid of legacy automakers in China, getting rid of companies like Nissan and Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi's disappeared from China. Jeep, they've disappeared from China. Getting rid of these rivals, undercutting them with better products. Now, obviously, China is doing it well in China. But though that flood of cars that they're capable of manufacturing, well, they're about to flood global automotive markets. Battery pack prices actually saw their biggest annual drop since 2017. Lithium-ion battery prices dropped 20% from 2023 to a record low of $115 per kilowatt hour at the pack level, not the cell level. At the cell level, they're as low as $53 per kilowatt hour. Factors driving the decline include cell manufacturing overcapacity, economies of scale, Moore's law, for example. Anytime we double production, generally the price comes down by around 20%. Low metal and component prices, adoption of lower cost lithium iron phosphate batteries, and a slowdown in demand from some battery companies. Why is that happening? Well, the truth is, battery companies are producing more batteries than ever before. Capacity globally has increased by 50%. LFP batteries have taken the market by storm, and now they have factories, battery factories, that are competing with new LFP battery factories that are more efficient and can produce batteries at a much lower price. That means the existing competitors, whether that's Samsung SDI, LG Chem, or Panasonic, they have to lower their prices. They have no choice in order to compete with China. The figures represent a global average, with prices varying widely across countries and application areas. So you're hearing this number of $115 per kilowatt hour, but that is not for the Chinese battery pack prices. That is an average of the entire industry. China is charging a lot less than that. Over the past 2 years, battery manufacturers have aggressively expanded production capacity in anticipation of surging demand for batteries in the EV and stationary storage sectors. And demand is here. I mean, Tesla has more than 2 years of orders for its massive mega pack batteries. Currently, though, overcapacity is rife, with 3.1 terawatt hours of fully commissioned battery cell manufacturing capacity globally. Now, that is more than 2.5 times annual demand for lithium-ion batteries in 2024, according to BNEF. While demand across all sectors saw year-on-year growth, the EV market, the biggest demand driver for batteries, grew more slowly than in recent years. Meanwhile, stationary storage markets have absolutely taken off, with strong competition across cell and system providers, especially in China. Evelina Stoicu, the head of BNEF's battery technology team and lead author of the report, said the price drop for battery cells this year was greater compared with that seen in battery metal prices, indicating that margins for battery manufacturers are being squeezed. Smaller manufacturers face particular pressure to lower cell prices to fight for market share. It's really, really hard for these small companies because you've got BYD and CATL just mass producing insane amounts of batteries. They hold more than 50% market share worldwide, and they produce batteries incredibly efficiently. Their costs continue to fall because they continue to produce more and more of the same product, and that means that, well, they can offer a lower price. However, these small battery companies, they have to compete with that. I mean, CALB, for example, you find those batteries in an XPeng vehicle. And obviously, XPeng are not going to be paying more for CALB's batteries than they would for CATL's. So that means CALB have to bring their prices down. And then what happens? CATL says, oh, hang on a minute, we'll undercut you. And this keeps on happening over and over and over, which, I mean, it's tough for these companies, right? Really hard for them to stay in business, but it's really good for the consumer because it means, well, electric cars will be cheaper than internal combustion engine vehicles within the next 18 months. These figures represent an average across multiple battery end uses, including different types of electric vehicles, buses, and stationary storage projects. Prices for EVs came in at $97 per kilowatt hour, and that includes both lithium iron phosphate and ternary batteries, as in nickel, manganese, cobalt, lithium ion batteries. Prices for battery electric vehicles, therefore, should actually be a similar price today based on those prices as what it costs to make an internal combustion engine car. So what that means is over the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to see battery pack prices continue to drop with the massive oversupply, massive competition, and obviously improvements in scale. And that means that electric cars will soon be cheaper on the market for consumers than internal combustion. While EVs have reached price parity in China, they are still more expensive than comparable combustion cars in markets outside of China. That's going to change soon though. BNEF expects more segments to reach price parity in the years ahead as lower cost batteries become more widely available outside of China. On a regional basis, average battery pack prices were lowest in China at $94 per kilowatt hour. But in the US, they're a lot higher. And in Europe, a hell of a lot higher. In the US, pack prices are 31% higher, and they're 48% higher in Europe. That reflects the relative immaturity of these markets, as well as high production costs and lower volumes. But keep in mind, the US is building too many battery factories. Now, this boom in battery factories is not such a bad thing. But if you actually have a look at the battery projects planned by companies in the United States, there is going to be an enormous oversupply in the United States. And what that will lead to is a similar situation to what we're seeing in China. The price differences for North America and Europe compared to China were higher than in other years, implying the drop in prices was more accentuated in China. Companies in China faced fierce competition this year. These conditions resulted in falling battery prices and lower battery margins, forcing many battery manufacturers to enter new markets, including energy storage, while also eyeing overseas markets like Thailand and Australia, willing to pay more for batteries. I mean, right now, that's how things are outside of China. But that's about to change. The industry has benefited from low raw material prices. Yayoi Sekin, head of energy storage at BNEF, said this: "One thing we're watching is how new tariffs on finished battery products may lead to distortionary pricing dynamics and slow end product demand. Regardless, higher adoption of lithium iron phosphate batteries, continued market competition, even from sodium-ion batteries as well, plus improvements in technology, higher energy density batteries, for example. If a battery pack is a higher energy density and you're paying the same amount for it, you're essentially getting more battery for your money. Material processing and manufacturing are all going to exert downward pressure on battery prices, which I think will lead to the perfect storm. BNEF expects pack prices to decrease by at least $3 per kilowatt hour in 2025 based on its near-term outlook. But that's a global number. In China, the price could decrease by around $10 per kilowatt hour. Looking ahead, continued investment in R&D, manufacturing process improvements, and capacity expansion across the supply chain will help improve battery technology and further reduce prices over the next decade. In addition, next generation technologies such as silicon and lithium metal anodes, solid-state electrolytes, new cathode materials, new cell manufacturing processes, all these will play an important role in further price reductions. We already have much higher energy density batteries about to hit the market. CATL have their million-mile battery, which is guaranteed for 25 years. They say it will not hit, literally, it will not go under 80% capacity after 1,000,000 kilometers. And if it does, you get a new battery. 1,000,000 kilometers and it's still guaranteed to have 80% of its original capacity. On the flip side, CATL's highest energy density battery, the condensed battery, is said to soon come to the automotive industry. That has an energy density of 500 watt hours per kilogram, which is around double the energy density of the best NMC batteries currently on the market. It's battery technologies like these, like BYD's new short blade battery, which can charge at up to 600 kilowatt, like Geely's golden brick battery, which can charge at up to 900 kilowatt and has around about 250 watt hours per kilogram of energy density in the LFP sector, record-breaking numbers. These kinds of batteries are all slated to hit the market at costs that are comparable to battery prices today. That means not only will batteries be cheaper and more energy dense, they'll also be capable of charging much faster. This will lead to a virtuous cycle. As consumers start to see just how good these EVs are, how good these battery prices are, how good these prices of these vehicles are, how fast they can charge, they will buy more of them. As less internal combustion cars are manufactured and more EVs are manufactured, the cost to produce each EV will go down and the cost to produce each internal combustion engine car will rise. So what does this all mean? I mean, what is the end game? What's the end result? Well, it's what I've been saying for a long time. At least 80% of the global car market will be fully electric by 2030. That means your Toyotas, your Mazdas, your Subaru, your Nissan, your Hondas, your Volkswagen groups, Audi, all of them, General Motors, Ford, all of them are being disrupted. Some of them will go bankrupt. Some of them will cease to exist, or they'll simply be acquired by one of these new Chinese conglomerates. Will it be BYD? Will it be the Geely Group? Will it be SAIC? I've got no idea. But change is coming. Make no mistake, there will be winners and there will be losers.